Hey guys, my name is Harry Dell, and welcome to another video here on Boxing Chat. With the upcoming induction of this fighter into the Boxing Hall of Fame, we will be looking back at a legacy that belongs to one of the most decorated and celebrated champions of the past 20 years. Yes, I'm talking about the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya.
Members of the press here to see the man on the bottom there, Oscar De La Hoya, his third fight after the Olympic gold medal.
Oscar De La Hoya is something else again. What a future they envisioned for this young man.
Why, after 5 professional fights, is this young man, the Olympic gold medal winner, drawing the comparisons to, say, the next Sugar Ray Leonard, the next Muhammad Ali?
De La Hoya, at this moment in his career, is harder to hit than Whitaker or Jones.
From East LA, the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya.
Alright, so let's throw it back to the 1992 Summer Olympics in Barcelona. Oscar was 19 years old and making his first appearance in an Olympic Games. After already winning the Golden Gloves and Junior Olympics, Oscar ultimately wanted the most prestigious award that an amateur boxer can receive. That award being, of course, the gold medal in the Olympics. De La Hoya would advance the gold medal match to face Marco Rudolph. Rudolph actually beat Oscar in the World Championships the year before, and he took Oscar's O in World Championship competitions. Despite the odds being against him, Oscar would win the match and bring home the only gold medal for the men's US boxing team that year. By winning the gold medal, it turned Oscar into a hero of East LA, and it would set the stage for an incredible professional career. De La Hoya would make his pro debut on November 23, 1992, headlining the card. Yes, you heard right. His debut was the main event at the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. The forum was sold out, and Oscar had a great welcoming into the professional ranks. He also picked up a pretty good check that day too. Oscar De La Hoya made $200,000 for his very first fight. Oscar quickly became the fan favorite despite being the visitor in most occasions. The venues would be packed just to see this young kid fight. As a matter of fact, after only 5 fights, people already wanted to put him in with the WBA super featherweight champion, Genaro Hernandez. And after just 8 fights, De La Hoya was ranked number 8 in the world in his division. A year and a half after his debut, De La Hoya would fight for his first world title on March 5, 1994, against undefeated super featherweight champion, Jimmy Bradall. The fight was stopped in Bradall's corner after the 10th round, and Oscar won the super featherweight title. Nearly 5 months later, on July 29, 1994, De La Hoya would capture the lightweight title by defeating the former world champion, Jorge Paez. On May 6, 1995, after 3 successful title defenses, De La Hoya would then go on to face the IBF lightweight champion, Rafael Ruelas, in a unification match of the lightweight titles. Oscar stops Ruelas in 2 rounds and becomes the unified lightweight champion. This was also the first time De La Hoya headlined his very own pay-per-view event, being only 22 years old. Then, in his second pay-per-view event in September of that same year, De La Hoya defeated another Los Angeles champion, undefeated Genaro Hernandez. It was a great year for Oscar De La Hoya, and he was awarded Fighter of the Year by Ring Magazine. As the years went by, De La Hoya would become more popular, a household name, and one of the biggest stars in boxing history. Throughout these years, De La Hoya would go on to win titles in 4 more divisions, capturing the junior welterweight title against the WBC champion Julio Cesar Chavez in 1996. A year later, going up against the WBC welterweight champion and number 1 pound-for-pound king, Pernell Whitaker. This was one of the most anticipated welterweight matchups in recent years because it was between the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter, Pernell Whitaker, and the number 2 pound-for-pound fighter, Oscar De La Hoya. De La Hoya won the fight by unanimous decision and won his 4th division world title. Then, A few years later, in 2001, De La Hoya won the super welterweight title against WBC champion Javier Castillejo. And finally, 3 years later in 2004, Oscar would capture his 6th division world title by beating undefeated middleweight champion Felix Sturm. By becoming the middleweight champion, Oscar was the first fighter in boxing history to win titles in 6 divisions. Throughout his career, Oscar faced 4 already inducted Hall of Famers: Pernell Whitaker, Julio Cesar Chavez, Arturo Gatti, and Felix Trinidad. Of course, the number of Hall of Famers will increase over time, having also faced Hector Camacho, Floyd Mayweather, Bernard Hopkins, Shane Mosley, and Manny Pacquiao. De La Hoya fought 24 world champions, having defeated 19 and losing to 5. Now let's take a look at the combined record of all 45 opponents that De La Hoya fought. Now if you're asking yourself, what is a combined record? Well, a combined record is when I add up all the wins, losses, draws, KO wins, and KO losses of every opponent a fighter has faced. In this case, I'm using it for Oscar De La Hoya, in order to determine what type of level of competition he faced in his entire career. I also take a look at how many of those fighters had winning records and losing records. Alright, so here are the numbers. The combined total of opponents' wins is 1,419, and 930 of those wins were by knockout. The combined total of opponents' losses is 123, and 40 of those losses were by knockout. Total draws, 44. Once again, the numbers are wins, 1,419, and 930 knockouts. Losses, 123. Losses by KO, 40. Total draws, 44. And the total number of fighters with winning records is 45. All 45 of De La Hoya's opponents had a winning record. Despite being retired for 5 years now, the East Los Angeles fighter still holds the record as the biggest pay-per-view star and attraction by headlining 19 pay-per-view main events, in which he sold 14 million pay-per-view buys, which generated $696 million in pay-per-view sales. I would like to thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, my name is Harry Dell, and until next time, see you later.